Chapter 736, Third Chair. Senner, in his wraith form, passed through the thick soil and rocks under Klein's control, arriving beside Sharon. He saw a damaged armrest which had asymmetrical patterns buried there, looking rather similar, but also different from the splinters they discovered moments ago. The armrest wasn't pure black in color. Their patterns exuded a dark red color, as though it was an intersection of iron and blood. Recalling the scene from his nightmare, Klein determined that this wasn't the high-back chair that the entity suspected to be Medici sat on. This was the second chair. The room that sealed the evil spirit had at least two high-back chairs. Klein and Sharon didn't say a word as they circled around in different directions to search for other clues. Before long, they discovered the evidence of a third high-back chair. It was the leg of a chair, mainly dark red in color, with pure black patterns. It was completely different from the other two kinds of splinters. Perhaps it's a problem caused by the asymmetrical trait of the fourth epoch. Klein knew Sharon's style, volunteering to speak and saying something even he couldn't believe. In the nightmare that resulted from the evil spirit's influence, the colors of the high-back chairs were, at the very least, uniform. Sharon shook her head slightly. 3 has more of a ritualistic feel. She was implying that the innocent victims of Blood Emperor Alistair Tudor weren't just one person back then. Perhaps a ritual had been held in the room that sealed the evil spirit. Klein was taken aback by what he heard as a scene flashed through his mind. In a spacious and dark room, 3 high-back chairs of different styles were placed around a particular point in the center. And sitting on each chair was a breathless humanoid creature with a drooping head. Among them included Red Angel Medici. The scene became clearer, as Klein instantly connected 2 additional matters together. The main ingredients of the sequence Black Emperor's potion is the uniqueness and 2 sequence 1 Beyonder characteristics, excluding one's own Beyonder characteristic. Blood Emperor Alistair Tudor had apparently forcefully jumped from the Black Emperor pathways sequence 1 Prince of Abolition to the Red Priest sequence 0, which wasn't a neighboring pathway. As a result, he became a half-crazy true god. As his thoughts whirred, Klein quickly had a theory. This room had once held a sequence 0 advancement ritual needed for a true god. Of course, according to the complicated ritual needed by a Black Emperor, this was only part of the requirement. The pathway that represented war had clearly required the entire continent to be in chaos and at war to match in scale. And Blood Emperor Alistair Tudor doesn't have the corresponding sequence 1 Beyonder characteristic, so his Red Priest potion requires 3 sequence 1 angels or sealed artifacts to provide him with the Beyonder characteristics. There happens to be 3 high-back chairs here. Yes, the evil spirit suspected to be Red Angel Medici said that to help it escape its seal, one should find direct descendants of the Sauron, Einhorn, and Medici family, and then extract 10 ml of blood and mix them with holy water. Sauron and Einhorn wield the Hunter pathway and are also angel families of the Red Priest Beyonder pathway. They've existed since the 4th epoch to this day. One of them has already waned, only capable of controlling the spy network and a military faction in Intis, while the other remains the royal family of Fasak. Thoughts flashed through Klein's mind as he had a new belief regarding what had happened in the room, as well as the true identity of the evil spirit. On the other 2 high-back chairs sat the ancestors of the Sauron and Einhorn families, sequence 1 angels, together with War Angel Medici, who very likely possessed the pathway's uniqueness. All the main ingredients of the Red Priest potion were gathered. And that evil spirit is highly likely to not be the pure Red Angel Medici. It might include the remnant psyche and hatred of the Sauron and Einhorn families' ancestors. Man, this place once sacrificed 3 sequence 1 angels. Before they died, their curses and the ritual itself left effects, making this room become abnormally horrifying as well as sealing it. Thankfully, I reported this to the churches ahead of time to let them deal with it. Otherwise, we might have died here if we relied on ourselves. It would be the same even if Miss Sharon and I advanced to sequence 4. We would become food for the evil spirit. Klein felt a sense of fear and joy. Meanwhile, he began to understand the reason why the Red Priest card had landed in the hands of the evil spirit. After all, the former highest-ranking members of a pathway were buried here in this underground ruin. The convergence of Beyonder characteristics would naturally lure Beyonders of the same pathway over without any deviations. Furthermore, as Roselle once said, whatever separates will definitely converge, and whatever converges will definitely separate. After Blood Emperor Alistair Tudor perished, the true God characteristic he possessed, which is the sequence 0 characteristic, will likely split into 4 pieces. One is the uniqueness, an abstract item or concept, while the remaining 3 are 3 sets of sequence 1 Beyonder characteristics. If it wasn't because of that, the corresponding Beyonder pathway wouldn't have any more sequence 1s when someone becomes a god. Could 1 or 2 of these sequence 1 Beyonder characteristics be attracted, entering the sealed room? This is likely one of the reasons why the card of blasphemy was lured over. The more Klein thought, the more he felt that he had previously underestimated the evil spirit. They live up to being angels who advanced from conspirers. Standing under the tree, Klein controlled Center to say, perhaps it really is a ritual. It's related to Blood Emperor Alistair Tudor. The scale and level involved must be great. Sharon added after silently listening, Sauron Einhorn Medici. Miss Sharon is also suspecting if the 3 high-back chairs once belonged to different angels from the details requested by the evil spirit. Klein thought for a moment, and he divulged something through Center. Blood Emperor Alistair Tudor is likely a true god from the Hunter pathway. The card of blasphemy is represented by the Red Priest. Sharon remained silent for a few seconds, as though she came to a realization regarding certain matters as she said, "That card is gone." She was referring to the Red Priest card, which the evil spirit had formerly shown them. Perhaps that evil spirit had long escaped before the Nighthawks and Machinery Hivemind destroyed this place. Klein shared his theory, and it had taken away all the Beyonder characteristics and that Red Priest card. Sharon silently surveyed the area and said, "It's very crafty. It wouldn't leave behind any obvious clues." That's right. The Beyonder characteristics outside the sealed room are clearly not at sequence 4. To an evil spirit who was once a king of angels, they don't have any allure. Likewise for the Red Priest card. It can be understood that it took away the things in the room, but why didn't it leave anything? It's like telling others something like, "Haha, I've fooled you. I've already successfully escaped. Catch me if you can." Wait, perhaps that's exactly what it wishes to convey. As Klein thought, he suddenly found it amusing as he made Center speak. No, being crafty doesn't necessarily equate to not leaving clues. The sequence 8 of the Hunter pathway is Provoker. At that moment, the red angel that surfaced in his mind had the picture of Anderson Hood over it. Sharon listened silently as she gaped her mouth slightly, but she didn't say a word. Similarly, Klein was speechless. He felt that the Beyonders of the Hunter pathway truly had a crystal-clear style. In comparison, the red-haired Helene didn't appear anything like someone from the Sauron family. However, she was rather talented at provoking Vice Admiral ailment. Yes, back then, the Sauron family members also infuriated Roselle terribly. Klein silently exhaled as he lampooned. The silent mood was soon broken by Klein. Center looked around and said a joke, "Perhaps that's the reason why they were captured and brought here." Who was helping Alistair Tudor? Sharon's translucent figure asked, but she didn't seem to look forward to the answer. Perhaps it's the 6 deities. Klein recalled the 6 deity statues in the hall. However, he had second thoughts. However, the 7 deities supported the Trunsost Empire. The Sauron and Einhorn families were powerful aristocrats of the Empire. Of course, it cannot be ruled out that they first supported Tudor, and later had a falling out after he went mad. If it's not the 6 deities, does it mean that there are other deities supporting Alistair Tudor? Who would it be? Klein thought in silence. Sharon didn't stay any longer as she floated up to the surface, returning to the tree. Klein stored away Center's wraith, allowing it to enter the gold coin inside the iron cigar case. Then, he asked in passing, "Actually, I've always been curious. Where do the powers of pure evil spirits and wraiths who do not have Beyonder characteristics come from?" "The spirit world," Sharon answered simply. "The conservation of Beyonder characteristics, but the source of Beyonder powers isn't necessarily the same?" "Yes, perhaps the spirit world itself is the product of some beyonder characteristics. Klein nodded and looked at the soil beneath his feet. I'll continue investigating the whereabouts of the evil spirit. I'll inform you if there's anything. He planned on asking Arodes later. With that said, he took out a pen and paper, scribbled down the method to summoning his messenger, and handed it over. You can write to me if there's anything. Sharon received the piece of paper and seriously looked at it. I'll be in the Bravehearts bar. Letters can be mailed to 126 Guard Street, Hillston Borough. Address it to Ma'am Maryam. All right. Klein stuffed his pen into his pocket. In front of Sharon, he used a ritualistic dagger to create a wall of spirituality and resealed the iron cigar case. Following that, he crossed the street to stop a carriage like a gentleman, sending Sharon all the way back to the Backland Bridge area. After doing this, he returned to the high-end hotel in Hillston Borough. Midway, he changed his appearance and switched carriages. Bam! Inside the Seaweed Bar. Danitz, who had spent some time drifting at sea, once again stepped back into the city of generosity. He planned on helping the resistance handle some matters. He pressed down on his cap, sat at the corner of the bar counter, and prepared to first hear about the recent news. He didn't wish to become a bounty reward due to untimely or inaccurate intelligence. At this moment, he heard an adventurer beside him say to his companion, "Hey, do you think Jayaman Sparrow will get someone to claim Admiral of Blood's bounty on his behalf?" Danitz subconsciously looked up, looking at the speaker with a blank, confused look.